Hey there guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Welcome back to CNU On the Lawn, the best and only student perspective from a couch every other week. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Wyatt, and this week's episode is brought to you by Valentine's Day. Love is in the air as we record this, so to all our hopeless romantics, I hope he, she, or they said yes.
We have a very special guest this episode, former U.S. Marine, U.S. Naval Academy grad, Harvard alumni, and mayor of Newport News, Mr. Phillip Jones.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate it. Best part of my day, so looking forward to the questions, and I love CNU, so anytime I can go on campus is a good day for me.
That's awesome. Well, let's start it off pretty easy, hopefully easy.
Okay.
You were raised in Newport News.
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing your story with us and what growing up in the city was like and what it was like leaving and then coming back?
Yeah, so the story of Mayor Phillip Jones is really the story of my mom and dad. They're my role models. Everything I do, I try to do just to make them proud. So my dad and mom were both Air Force pilots. So they were at Langley Air Force Base, which is only a few miles from CNU. So they retired. We moved from Newport News and Hampton to Japan for a little bit. Then moved back when I was in, I think, 7th or 8th grade. Went to Hampton Christian for high school, and then went to the Naval Academy. So my parents still live here. They live in 2 miles up the road in Port Warwick. So it's just good to have everyone that I love for the most part here in Newport News.
What has been your most impactful experience as mayor?
Wow. It's a hard question. To be honest, every single day is impactful. I think one of the days that I'm most proud of is when I can go and talk to our kids. I've always said the kids are the future, and I'll tell you a secret. There's in the mayor group chat, if you're ever having a bad day, just schedule book reading with 3rd or 4th graders. Like, you'll go there, they have a good time, no one's booing you, you can read a book, pass out candy. So I think just anytime I can go to the schools is a great day for me.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. You talked about the military a little bit. What made you decide to join the military?
So just being a military family, I think for a lot of African Americans, the middle class was best achieved through military service. It was like you go to college, 2nd lieutenant, you're basically middle class. You can buy a house, etc. And I think we see post World War II is when we had the GI Bill. So I think in my family, it's always been service for a lot of reasons. My grandparents, my mom and dad, and then for me, I can remember when September 11th happened. I was here, I was in Hampton, I was living in Kiln Creek at the time, and that day I forgot to do some homework, or I think it's math or whatever. And so I'm freaking out, I'm an A student, I didn't do my homework, and then literally I get over the loudspeaker. I say, "Hey, Phillip Jones, please come to the principal's office." I'm sweating. I'm like, how did they already know that I didn't do my homework? But then I get there, it's the principal, it's my mom and my dad, and they're like, "Hey, something bad has happened. The country's going to be at war." And so my mom and dad were both colonels at the time, so they had to go away for weeks at a time. So they said, "Hey, your grandmother is on a flight. She's going to be up here soon," and they're like it's on you, be a man sort of thing. So that's when their service became my service. And then I was born in Okinawa, Japan, so I saw the Marines running around. That's a very large Marine Corps base. And so I knew that, all right, I wanted to go to college at the Naval Academy, and then I wanted to be a U.S. Marine, and it all worked out. Best job I ever had.
Those leadership skills that you talked about, through the military and through your parents even, how do those kind of translate to your role now as mayor?
It's the exact same thing. So this morning I had an hour chat with some of our firefighters, and what I told them was leadership. It's all about servant leadership. My role exists to amplify the voices of others. That's it. Imagine me as a giant megaphone. I just walk around and whatever the mayor is interested in, then everyone's like, "Oh, that's really cool." And so spending time with our first responders, with our teachers, that's the best part of my day, and that's my leadership style, is to show up and be at the front. And so mayor is not that hard a job. I think 50% of the job is showing up, right? Something bad happens in the community, show up. If someone's house burns down, show up. If it's a long day for the firefighters, show up. Just showing up is probably half the name of the game.
What led you to run for mayor? You've talked a lot about that role and what has prepared you for it, but what motivated you to become mayor?
I think if we're all being a little honest, you're a little overqualified to be a mayor. So what motivated you to come back and serve the community?
So my parents have always lived here, and so when I would, whether it was the Naval Academy or it was my military service or even at Harvard, I would just come home, whether it was Thanksgiving, Christmas, and I would just come to Newport News. So, I'm always just sort of around Newport News. And 2018, 2019, I heard that the former Mayor Price, who had been mayor for about 12 years, wasn't going to run again. And as everyone knows in politics, the best time to run is for an open seat. You're not challenging an incumbent. Yeah. It's an open seat. You're not hurting anyone's feelings. It's like, hey, it's empty, so I'm going to go for it. And you usually have a lot of people, which means the vote's going to be fragmented, which if you have a strong story, you can stand out. So I love this city. I love Hampton Roads. I wanted to give back in some capacity, and I thought, why not start with mayor?
Sure. As the youngest elected mayor,
yeah.
How do you see, the way some people might characterize you as being young and inexperienced?
Yeah.
How do you use that youth as an advantage?
Yeah. So I can remember when I was running for mayor, and I ran against some extremely qualified individuals, 3 members who had currently been on city council. And during one of the debates, someone asked the same thing. They said, as limited experience. And I said, I think I'm the most experienced, on the stage. I said, I've led a rifle company of 200 men to deployment, over, 12 different countries together. I brought them back. I have a business background. And so I said, just because you're young doesn't mean you're inexperienced. I think I bring a different perspective. Mm-hmm. I think that resonated, new energy. And so it's funny, we did a poll during the election and after the election. And we thought, what's name a phrase to describe Phillip Jones? And it was just new energy, vibrant. It was heart. Those are the words that popped out on the diagram. And so what I tell everyone is, don't let anyone tell you that you're too young. And I know I look pretty young, right? But as someone who's 35, there are members of Congress that are, in their 30s.
Sure.
I think there's a 29. I think Maxwell is 29. So the sort of Gen Z generation is now taking their front, whether it's running for mayor or city council or school board across the country. You see people starting to step up. It's just Hampton Roads it's skewed a little bit older just due to the military and some of the retirees.
What are some of you've talked a little bit about this already, but what are some of your biggest priorities as mayor? What do you try to focus on politically?
No, it's good. It's a really good question. And so what I would say is there's 4 or 5 things. And I talk to mayors across the country, and their list is mostly the same thing. It's how can we reduce crime?
Sure.
Right? How can we have the highest quality of life? So that's the festivals, does it feel fun to be in the city? Mm-hmm. Can we make the schools the best schools possible? In Newport News, we educate, almost 28,000 kids. It's crime low, let's have fun, let's make sure the schools are good. On a personal note, I'm a huge proponent of economic development. I think if you lower taxes, that's how you can do business innovation. And so I would love to see cranes in the sky. I hate vacant buildings. I hate blighted buildings. I want to build, ensure that everyone can afford a house and just build a beautiful city in which there's a strong social fabric. So I know that's a lot of word salad, but at the end of the day, I want Newport News to be the best place to live, to work, and to raise your family. And I want everyone at CNU to stay, right? At the end of the day, it's all about talent retention and talent management. We need all of you to come back to Newport News. So I think the term is called boomerangs. You're here, you go away, and then you come back, and you see a large rise of boomerangs through our Hampton Roads for many reasons. It's a good place to raise a family.
Yeah,
I'd say so.
And we're already seeing some of those things come to fruition. In 2024, Newport News was named an All-American City.
Yeah.
What does that label, that title mean to you?
It was huge. I think I almost cried that day. So it was important to me because if you look across Hampton Roads, the 7 cities, I think 5 out of the 7 have been All-America cities multiple times. And so that's basically the top 10 cities per year based on a different rubric. And I said, during running for mayor, I said it says something when every other city has been All-America City twice or 3 times. We've never even been to the finals. And so team effort from a lot of people in the city, and we were able to bring it home. And it's just so great to represent Newport News on the national stage. And when I was running for mayor, I said, anytime there is a discussion about the best cities in America, we deserve to be in that discussion. We are a large city, we're not a small city. We have a large military presence. We have the largest industrial employer being the shipyard. We have all the tools that we need. Let's put it together.
Great. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What does CNU mean to Newport News? This is a CNU podcast. We kind of have to ask a little bit. What is our university's importance in the city, and how can we help align, how can we align with the city to make Newport News an amazing place?
So I have always said the city and the university are linked, right? as one does better, so does the other. If one is doing poorly, it's going to reflect in the other one. And so we are in city center. We are basically in the middle of the city. And guess what? We're here at CNU. I mean, you're literally the heart of the community, the vibrance. As mayor, I love when you spend your tax dollars and you have fun. You eat at Chipotle and you go to city center and you go to all the amazing things that we have here to offer at the city. And so having a new president come in at the same time you have a new mayor was awesome. The president, Kelly's been amazing, has been a true thought partner. And so I love this university. I love all that it has to do for the city. And we have a really strong partnership. And so as long as I'm mayor, we're going to double down. Hopefully I keep getting invited back to the university.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd hope so.
Are there any specific projects that you're excited about working with CNU on or looking towards the future a little bit?
Yeah, so when I've talked to some of the students at CNU, what I've heard is that Friday hits and usually people get out of town, right? They're either going to stay in the dorms, they're going to stay on campus, or they're going to go to Richmond or Northern Virginia. I would love for them just to stay here, right? Stay here, whether it's bus service, let's have more bars, let's have more opportunities to have fun. Let's go to City Center, let's go to Uptown, let's explore downtown. We have hopefully a brand new concert series coming up here pretty soon. But I would just love for Newport News can be a closed-off city sometimes, and I think we can do a better job of saying, hey, look at all the things that you can do here in the city.
Yeah, that's great.
What is your favorite regular tradition? I mean, you've been here for a little bit. You've seen some of the traditions that CNU does. Do you have any that you've enjoyed experiencing or seeing or being a part of maybe?
Yeah, I would say two things. So number one is move-in day. I think I know that happens at, all across the country, but I think CNU does it right. I love coming out here. Hopefully I can do it every single year, but just meeting people and talking to their families. So that's my cop-out answer. I think the CNU answer is, I think it's called your stroll.
Yeah.
I love that. If I can be a judge for that for the next, 3 or 4 years, that would be great. But just, couple thousand people are coming out, you're raising money for a good cause. As an Omega, I get to support the Alphas, and then I get to support all the sororities. It's a really good time, and so I'm trying to encourage more people from the city to come out for Stroll, but I'll be here, I'll be at Stroll here pretty soon.
That's awesome.
This might be a bit of a tough one, but
I'm ready. Let's do it.
What does the future look like for you? What are your aspirations as working in maybe it's higher politics, maybe it's staying here for the rest of your life? What does that look like for you?
I'm all in on Newport News. I think if we do it correctly, what I tell developers and people who want to invest their private capital is Newport News. Give us 20 or 30 years and we're going to be the next Charlotte or the Raleigh-Durham research triangle. We have all the pieces. We have the shipyard, Jefferson Laboratory. We're doing a lot with Enview and with Lee Hall up in the north part of the city. So I would love to be a part of that. And so that's my answer. That's a good political answer to that. But no, I'm all in on the city. I'll be up for re-election next year and we'll take it one step at a time.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
This is a bit of a softball to kind of end us off and give us good. But what is your a hidden gem of Newport News? Where is somewhere that everyone should find the time to go check out and give some more attention to?
So I'm a history major. I love the museums, whether it's the Virginia Living Museum. We were there for the Groundhog Day, which I think the groundhog was sleeping still, and I think he ate too much food, and so it actually was a skunk.
We don't need to talk about him. I'm upset at him right now.
It's still cold, but I think our museums, and I love to go trail running, so the amazing trails that exist with the Nolan Trail and everything that's behind the Mariners Museum is just beautiful. And I think most people don't realize that it's back there, as well as Newport News Park. So if you want to get outside, Newport News has that sort of thing. Ride your bike, trail hiking, camping. These are all sort of hidden gems. And I know that we at city staff level are trying to promote the city more and more. It's a beautiful place. We would love to get more water activation, but it's a great and gorgeous town. You just got to go out and find it.
Absolutely. Well, we can't thank you enough for coming on and talking to us.
Is there anything else you wanted to share or talk about?
You want to promote?
Anything?
So one, I just want to say thank you for having me. I love coming to this university. And for those who don't know, Andrew and I spent a lot of time during the campaign knocking a few hundred doors together. But no, I just think anytime people get involved, it doesn't matter what your political party is or preference, I encourage everyone to get involved, especially at the local level, whether it's your school board meetings or city council. Whatever happens in DC happens in DC, but I can tell you your treasurer, your sheriff, your mayor have a much more day-to-day impact on the potholes, road conditions than people in DC. So get involved, make sure you vote. Doesn't matter who you vote for, just make sure you're registered to vote and that your voice is heard. But that's all I've got. I really appreciate it.
Well, do you want to help us with our outro?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So we're gonna say we'll be seeing you on the lawn.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
so
ready.
Kind of a pun. So.
I got it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right.
Wait, you started.
Okay. We'll be seeing you on the lawn. That's great. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Okay.